Okay, so we're going to talk about the right to defend yourself, or the right to present yourself in court without a lawyer. Now, there's no direct statute, or there may be, but I haven't encountered it. There's no direct statute that I can find easily that says that you have the right to defend yourself. But from old times and all the way back, you've had the right to face your accuser, which is to really recuse your accuser. To actually stop what they're saying. Make them produce information to prove what they're saying as a testimony. Right? So that's how that works. So that's old and comes from ancient times. Lawyers are modern. Okay, so the use of the lawyer is optional. Whereas the right to defend yourself comes enshrined in every ancient law all the way down through. You can prove that there was people who would accuse you, and you had the right to redress that. Right? So when it comes down to it, it's optional, like many things. Like when it comes to getting a license or any of those things, it actually says may. Right? And that's because licenses can't apply to everyone under the law. They apply to certain classes of persons. And then they can't apply to a baby. A baby doesn't have the right to have a license, but it has the right to travel. So, that's the thing about it. And when we talk about, those things that you're applying for and how they end up being, you being bound to them, it's because you're asking for the permission to do that.
When you could have done it anyway.
Well, that's the whole thing about the government. The government can really only take something that's already yours, repackage it and sell it back to you. Yeah? At a second level. That's all they can do. They don't have the right to stop you from travelling, but they can make you turn your right to travel into a privilege by making you think that you have to apply for a license.
And talk about the McLean Act.
Well, I'm going to talk something about this a little bit too. The other thing is that they try to tell you that these things are public acts and they apply to everyone, but they can't, because we already just discussed the situation of the Land Transport Act and having driver licensing can't apply to a baby, right? So there's the secret of it. They don't apply to everyone. They're not public acts. They're private acts that apply to a special class of person known as a driver, which has age and other restrictions, right? So, but everybody, regardless of how, can get on their push bike and they can ride to another town if they're able. It's a little bit scary to think about your little kid riding off to another town, but they actually have the right to do that. And somehow you lose that right. Hey, how do you lose that right? Well, you do it by your application. So when you apply, when you turn 15 and you apply for a driver's license, you waive your common law right to travel that you always had before then for the legal privilege of driving.
And so,
With a license.
Yeah.
So what's happened over time is people have forgotten their rights.
Well, that's what happens. If you don't actually exercise your rights, they become forgotten. Okay? And then they get hidden. They get hidden by ignorance. That's the truth. The right hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. What's gone is the knowledge of how to use it. Okay? And all the young people, that's what they're doing. By not paying attention to these things, they're actually waiving their rights. And then it becomes commonplace. It's only been since the Second World War that people have paid income tax. And it's only been probably 70 years that people that worked in local body government, like mayors and that, were paid. Before that, it was a voluntary job. And what you got by being a good mayor was goodwill from business people, because you were productive and you produced goodwill for them. And people came and flocked to you because they wanted to share in that good business.